How are you guys doing? I'm not sure if I mentioned this last week, but last week's Torah portion was is scarier than a giant spider. When they're all like staged by the door, it seems like trying to crawl inside the house. But um, shot Kitavo, Kitavo. Yes, I think. Hopefully, I'm remembering correctly. Yeah, Kitavo. When I was most of the Torah portions are, especially the really horrific ones, like Kitavo and what else? Bechukotai and a couple other ones. Bayat Kanan is not that great either. I think the worst are probably Bechukotai and Kitavo, as far as just I think Kitavo is probably the worst because it's just a laundry list that seems to never end of horrible curses. But it starts out really nice. It's like laws and mitzvot about the festivals and like sacrifice or meal offerings and like tithing in certain first fruits and of it a couple times during the Shemitah period, like 3 years for the first fruits of certain produce and all the tribes get split into two. And there's six tribes on one side and six tribes on the other, and Moshe and all the some I don't know. I think it's Moshe and some of the Leviim, some of the priests are like down between the two mountains. And if you're not you know if you're not a believer or if you think the Torah is like some storybook, then all this is just going to be nonsense to you until you see the truth, and it's going to just absolutely terrify you, and you'll either run away and pretend like you didn't see it, or you'll do everything that you possibly can, any 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 conscious moment that you have to learn and follow as much as you can just soak up and do as humanly possible. Because if you don't, you're so damned to hell. But the tribes stand on half the tribes stand on Mount Gerizim, and the other tribes on Mount Ebal. And I think I forget which, but one half the tribes they they get the blessings, and the other, like the Moshe and the Kohanim, say the blessings facing one mountain, and they say the curses saying the other mountain, and everyone, the entire nation of Israel say Amen. Not just to all the blessings, but to all the curses. Just like, I mean, the blessings are amazing. It's like everything possibly good that you could ever want. If you're, an honest and decent human being that's not into just complete debauchery. But if you are into that kind of stuff, you really ought to read through the list of curses, because it is like, it seems to be just never ending when you think like, okay, it has to be the end. It can't get any worse than that. And he's, oh, that's where you're wrong. There's way, like, just horror upon horror upon horror. I'll just read a few of notes that I took from like the middle of it. And you shall grope at noonday as the blind man gropes in darkness. And you shall not prosper in thy ways, and you shall not, and you shall be only oppressed and robbed evermore, and no man shall save thee. Rashi says, basically, against every action that you take, there will be constant dispute. You'll never have any blessing in anything that you do. And that's 28-29. I'm just going to read through a few verses. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build a house, and thou shalt not dwell in it. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shalt not gather its grapes. The fruit of your beasts and of your body. This is just paraphrasing a quote for verse 31 and 32 that I wrote down. Basically says the fruit of all your beasts, like all your animals, like oxen and sheep and whatnot, will be slaughtered in front of you, and you will eat none of it. And the fruit of your body will be slaughtered and taken away, and no one will save you. And that's not the worst of it. It just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. 28:36, the Lord shall bring thee and thy king whom you will set over yourself to a nation which neither you nor your fathers have known, and there shall you serve other gods of wood and stone. God had mercy on us. He knew we were hurting last week, so we didn't find any proofs. Maybe you did. I didn't though. But we certainly found a pile this week. I mean, not specifically in the Torah portion of Ki Tavo, but I mean the fact that this is buried in with all the curses should terrify anyone that believes or follows in the New Testament. I mean, there's a reason why why he was nailed to wood, and why that's, the only two religions that claim to follow in the footsteps of the Torah. They are wood and they are stone, and they are false. New Testament, I mean, there's lots of actual physical wood objects that, I mean, most churches have a physical wood crucifix in it with some, plaster cast of the dude on there nailed to it. And people that, don't have a lot of money, or who are rustic and not fancy, have wooden crosses that they wear around their necks, or wooden crosses that they hang on the walls. And anyone that knows anything about Islam should be obvious. The stone is a giant rock that they march around like ants. And like the sages always say, the juxtaposition of any verse in the Torah is extremely important. So the fact that this is buried in with the long list of absolute horrors, like I said, the stuff that I read is just like a snippet. Like your grain and grapes will get eaten by locusts and worms. Children will be taken captive. The stranger that is in the midst of thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt become down very low. And the crazy thing is, this is right now in Eretz Israel. I mean, the Arab terrorists and the Zionist atheist Torah haters have total, people control anyway. They look like they have control. But as far as, most people are concerned, that don't have no concept of what the Torah is, have no emunah or bitachon, they think that these people are in control. That's what God lets people know with an incorrect hashkafa, with an incorrect ideology think. And the other amazing thing was I just finished Musar Perkei at 29 right before this, and like a few minutes after I started watching, I had about a half hour left, or maybe 20 minutes left. Like 10 or 20 minutes into watching it, Rabbi Reuben starts mentioning verses, and he said he and his student Sonny found a chidush, a new insight, or an insight in the Torah, like earlier that day, or sometime recently before the shur when it was recorded, from a couple verses in Jeremiah. And Jeremiah 2:27. I think he said Jeremiah 2:20. That's what I wrote down. But there's a bunch that goes back and forth from Jeremiah 2 to Jeremiah 32, but in Jeremiah 2:27, well, I should go to Jeremiah 2, because that is hopefully this is public, and I'm not, and I know I'm a moron, but it's public, so Jeremiah 2. I need to get a physical Tanakh so badly. I've been procrastinating on trying to ask about the right one. Anyway, in Jeremiah 2, the prophet talks about broken vessels. And living waters. Jeremiah 2:13, for my people have committed two evils. They have forsaken me, the fountain of living waters, and have hewn themselves and have hewn them out cisterns, broken cisterns that can hold no water. Basically, they took all of God's commandments that was the recipe for the endless list of blessings that are given in Parshat Kitavo, and they just threw them in the trash heap and decided that they could do better. And decided that they would see how strong they were and how smart they were. Like the Torah says numerous times in various places that God is patient. I mean, of course, there's no time where God is. And for people where there is time and it's very short for us, pretty much anything seems like patience. But still, he is patient. Gives people all the chance in the world to do teshuvah, to fix their evil ways. Even though he can and does know the outcome of every single person's acts completely, and not just that outcome, but every single possibility that could ever be for any choice and any series of choices and actions a person could take forever throughout their entire life. All those infinite possibilities, or not infinite, but vast innumerable possibilities for people to consider. But I think there's the attribute of God that brings a judgment or judges people with a sense of absolute truth. That aspect of God, I think, I don't know. It would seem to me that he would have to kind of hide the outcome. Like not the rules that he sets in place for himself. I certainly have no idea how it all works, but we get a lot of chances, and most people let them just run out. And he lets us continue on with the strength and the wisdom that he gives us for a certain amount of time before he pulls the rug out and shows us that we're absolutely nothing at all, especially nothing smart or strong. In Jeremiah 2:19, thy own wickedness shall correct thee, and thy backsliding shall reprove thee. Know therefore and see that it is an evil and bitter thing that thou hast forsaken the Lord thy God, and that my fear is not in thee, says the Lord God of hosts. We have to have fear of God, because if we don't, we're doomed. Because even though once a person gets to a certain level, they they don't want to lose the bond that they have, and an amazing goodness and just indescribable feeling at certain moments. So they like the assistance and closeness that a person feels. That is no match for the Yitzhara when he really flexes his muscles. So we absolutely have to have fear, like serious, sheer terror. Like imagine the sound of all the screams of mothers as they had to, see their children being eaten or even ate them. Like that's some of the like you would think worst stuff in the list of curses in Ki Tavo and in the Torah. But I mean, it's definitely up there, but that's not the end of it. It just keeps going on and on and on. And the thing that everyone needs to like burn into their mind and really understand, no matter what you think or what you believe in, the Torah is 100% real, true. All the the stuff in it. It's not just like some fairy tale. It's not like some book of alien influence or whatever nonsense people think. All the stuff, all the curses. I shouldn't say all, because a lot of them have not happened yet. Because in Ki Tavo it specifically says that after a time there's going to be a time where it gets really like absolutely horrible, where all the stuff that's happened in the past a bunch of times is going to happen again, plus even more just horrors upon horrors, until people are just so distraught that their nerves are shot and they're screaming and they're pulling their hair out and can't eat, can't sleep, jump at the sound of like rustling leaves and running from wind, until they just have no strength at all. and drop like a sack of dried bones on the side of the road because they just don't have the strength to move anymore. A withered sack of meat and flesh. So they finally beg God for help and forgiveness. But the things, there's just a huge list of like horrible diseases and plagues. Some that, it says some that you know from Egypt, and others, others that you haven't, new plagues and new diseases. At least one of those is AIDS. God brought AIDS. I mean, he brings everything, but just as a little forewarning of different kinds of plagues. Like, I forget what that one like African virus is, where it's like a hemorrhagic fever kind of thing, where you just imagine some of the most horrendous, like, psychotic diseases. And that's why God needed to have all those top secret bioweapons facilities and smart psychopaths that were really arrogant, or at least sociopaths, and arrogant smart people that think they know what they're doing, that create terrible bioweapons, because it's all prophesied in the Torah. I mean, you think it's some coincidence that, like, right as the Jewish Enlightenment movement happened, instantly the Industrial Revolution happened. Like, it coincided with it, and technology just went from like a snail's pace of virtually no progress at all to, like, within a span of about 200 or 300 years, like iron tools and agriculture to aerospace technology and atomic weapons. And some of the great rabbis, like before the 1900s, said that this was the time that the Gemara talked about, that the Talmud talked about, of the era before Mashiach arrives. That God would open the gates of wisdom, and he would basically pour in the most wondrous and amazing wisdom into the world, as a way to, like, facilitate and speed everything up that needed done, like paying all the wicked their debts, and helping people to either get into Gan Eden, into heaven, or into Gehinnom, into hell, and to hurry everything up really fast, so we could all figure it out. Because time is short. There's only a week till Rosh Hashanah, till New Year's, and, well, technically, there's still 17 days of the gates of repentance, of the gates of Teshuvah being open, and God having mercy on us all to do Teshuvah. we want to have as much done as we can possibly muster by Rosh Hashanah, by next Monday night, I think. Or no, not Monday night, Sunday night, 1 week exactly. We all want to go to sleep knowing that we spent the last 30 days or however long it is since when you heard this stream. Hopefully that's soon. Knowing that we did as much as we possibly can. Thank God Rabbi Reuben is back in America, and hopefully he will be doing more live stream. So if you want a pile of merits, don't just share old lectures and video clips and whatever, because that is a huge ticket to help get lots of help. Because if we help other people, God will help us, and if we take our teshuva seriously, God will take our teshuva seriously. But when Rabbi Reuben does live stream, watch on the Bezrat Hashem app or on bh.live, bh.live. And when they go live, it should be like Sunday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 6 Pacific, 9 Eastern, I think. Hopefully I have that right. But you can follow him on Twitter or Facebook or one of his other social media profiles, or the Bezrat Hashem Twitter. And when the live lectures are about to start, the links usually get posted there. And there's nothing better for merits that we can get other than showing up live to a live event of earning merits. To watch it live and to share the live lecture. The only other thing I can suggest is, if you have money, donate money, whatever you can, to one of Rabbi Reuben and or Bezrat Hashem's donation campaigns, whether it's the Rosh Hashanah one or I think it's bhrh.org or BH Donate. Some of them go to different things, like or you can, depending on where you donate. But the like there's one for donating to food and clothes for observant poor observant Jews that learn Torah in Israel. But pretty much everything else just kind of goes into a general fund of money to help people do teshuva and keep the organization running, which is it's literally a miracle once you start looking around the internet and seeing how much they do. It's insane how much Torah that they put out there for being such a tiny organization. I don't mean like tiny as far as like people or whatever. I mean small as in like what their budget is. Because most places that have like multi-million-dollar budgets don't help like 10% of the people do teshuva that his organization does. And it's, it's sad, because if they did something real, if they taught, the whole Torah, and stop worrying about what people think, then they could, might have a chance to really bring the redemption in a fairly smooth way. At least a lot faster and a lot nicer than it will come otherwise. But we have to stop worrying about other people and look in the mirror and do what we can do with what we have right now. Whatever that is. Stop complaining. Stop wanting more. And look at what we have to work with and figure out how to cobble together the duct tape and popsicle sticks into a rocket ship that will send as many people as possible to heaven as we can get the help from God for. Hopefully we can tag along for the ride too. One thing I was thinking about reading, or after I finished Parashat Ki Tavo over the last 24 hours, I guess, was I just did not get scared enough after reading that, because I should be doing so much more. I should be so much more terrified, and because I've done the footwork or the finger work walking through history to see. I mean, definitely not every single event, but enough of the major events throughout history for like the last at least 2,500 years or so, to see like every time where a certain percentage of Jews stopped observing the Torah. All those, all the old curses anyway, not the the new stuff that God is saving for the end of days. Not really, just I don't know how it could get more terrifying than eating your kids, or seeing someone else eat your kids, and all the other horrible things that are listed, other than the, I don't know, new diseases that weren't in Mitzrayim. Seems pretty low on the list, but I have no clue. That could be just something incomprehensible. But if you want proof, all you gotta do is look. Read a little bit of the Torah, especially the really scary Torah portions like Bechukotai and Ki Tavo, and then look at all of history. Anytime there was a certain amount of assimilation, especially, that's the number one thing. Like, God has a lot of leniency and a lot of mercy for idol worship and violating Shabbat and all kinds of stuff. But when assimilation happens and non-Jews start marrying Jews, then God has to do some really horrible things just to keep the world together. I've been thinking about some of my family about Germany. This scares me. My my stepdad's mom was she was in her 90s when I was in high school. I think she passed away shortly after I graduated. But when we were younger, like up through when I was a freshman or sophomore or something like that, and I recall my stepdad and his my stepsisters using some of these same words, and I just thought they were like German words. I had no clue that they were Yiddish. I don't know if they just, grew up in close proximity to a Jewish community in Germany, or if they were, assimilated Jews, because they celebrated Christmas, and I mean, as far as I know, none of them ever talked about like Jewish ancestry or anything like that. But I think there's probably millions of Jews that assimilated from various parts of Germany and Western Europe, at least, if not Eastern Europe and Russia, millions and millions. And that was before the Holocaust. They had already emigrated, immigrated into America by then, in like I think the 20s or early 30s, something. No, it was the 20s because she would talk about the Depression. It was absolutely terrifying. And really, really sad knowing that there's any Jew that ever had a Christmas tree in their house, let alone, you believed, read and believed the New Testament, or lived like a goy, or married a goy. And I don't know who might hear this, or if you ever heard this, me say this before anywhere else, but it's important for goyim and Jews to know, for non-Jews as well as Jews, that if you are in a relationship with a, like a Jew and a non-Jew together, that is probably the hugest sin that you could ever possibly commit, especially as a goy, especially as a non-Jew. That's the biggest sin that you could ever commit. Because nothing as far as the Noahide laws ever could possibly come close to the damage that is done. Not even remotely. And the unimaginable, infinite as in time and scope of suffering and endless punishment that a person will face in Gehenna and hell for being a part of that without doing real serious teshuvah, real serious repentance. As far as I'm aware of, I haven't done that. But I just hope that I just hope there's a lot of leniency in heaven. That's what I hope. Please, God, please have mercy on us all. I keep praying for God to help us all do full teshuvah this year before Rosh Hashanah in a week. And the fear and reality of my prayers ebbs and flows. And if that's gonna happen, as the time draws shorter and closer to Rosh Hashanah, the amount of sheer terror and intensity and insanity it's going to be virtually unbearable. And while I want everyone to do teshuvah sooner rather than later. I'm not sure if how much I could. I mean, I can deal with whatever God helps me to deal with. That's all I know. If I don't have God's help, I can't deal with absolutely anything. Nothing at all. We have a week left. I need to really increase my fear of heaven because I feel like I haven't been doing enough. But at the same time, I just don't know. I don't know what else to do. I mean, if I thought it would do any good, I would just get online and post nonstop, just spam from the moment I woke up till the moment I went to sleep, and use every moment and every megabyte of bandwidth I could possibly squeeze out until Yom Kippur. I mean, right now, if you guys can hear this, it's it's basically a miracle in itself, unless the data month somehow rolled over. I have no clue. I try not to pay attention to any of that stuff because it doesn't really matter anyway. It either works. That's what I keep telling my dad. It either works or it doesn't. Whatever it is, it's either gonna work or it doesn't. Figure it out once. It either works or it doesn't. Deal with whatever it is then. What the Yetzirah is really weird. Like, I can try to upload or download something to certain places, and it will take, or say it's going to take like 4 days for like a 300-400 megabyte file, and then I'll go to try to do it like again or something else, or maybe even just to a different website and everything works fine. And it's like 30 minutes or an hour. I guess maybe it was probably closer to a gigabyte file for the 4 days, but still not normal. Oh, I forgot to put this on the screen. I'm slow. There's stuff over part of it, so I can't read it. So I gotta go look at wherever it came from. I can't remember. Jeremiah 2:27, saying to a stalk of wood, "Thou art my father," and to a stone, "Thou hast brought me forth." For they have turned their back to me, and not their face. But in their time of but in the time of their trouble, they will say, "Arise and save us." Basically, they'll go to the idol worship of Christianity and to the heresy of Islam and all the secular atheist idol worship of the self nonsense, putting their faith in gods that have eyes but do not see, and hands but do not feel, and ears that do not hear, and mouths that but do not speak, until they're dragged through the ditch and at their wits' end. Like I forgot what the wicked king's name was. He was basically being boiled in a pot, ready to be eaten by cannibals, and he was praying to every idol that he worshipped, and none of them answered. Surprisingly, who would have thought that one? And then finally, he prays to the real God, the only God, the God of Israel, and the real amazing, honestly amazing part is God listens and has mercy on him and accepts his teshuvah. When I don't think any person would have had that mercy on him after being so wicked and so. I mean, not only did he worship idols, he murdered a bunch of people, and he got pretty much the whole nation of Israel, other than like a few righteous people that were left, like a couple hundred maybe. He got pretty much everyone to worship idols. But God still accepted his teshuvah. He said, if you're real and you rescue me I will do, complete teshuva. I will destroy all the idols. No, put everything back in place right. And for whatever reason God has, He probably because it was the best thing possible for everyone. Because He kept His word, as far as I can recall. God, lifted the pot up, and like the boiling pot with Him in it, and flew him back to Jerusalem. I think that's where it was anyway. Anyway, out of the clutches of the cannibals that were going to eat him. So surely, if we do real honest teshuva, He will certainly accept our teshuva. And the other source that Rabbi Reuben mentioned was one that we read recently, a few weeks ago, Parashat Vayechanan, Vayechanan, Deuteronomy chapter 4, verses 27 and 28, is the prophecy of serving wood and stone. And there's numerous times where God mentions, not to worship idols, but if specifically when you do, you will worship wood and stone in the Torah, in the first 5 books of Moses. And then again, numerous places the prophets mention it. In Jeremiah it's mentioned, in Ezekiel I think it's mentioned. I don't even know very much Torah at all. And some part of me wants to say, like, I've only seriously started learning for like maybe 6 months or 8 months or something like that, but I don't even know if, I mean, it's serious for me, but it's not really serious. And before that, it was kind of lackadaisical. It was like, I took it as like a, part-time conspiracy, with just a hint of God in it. I was definitely looking for the truth. I just didn't know what I was going to find. Like whether it was going to be, aliens, or I don't know. I knew God was real though, and I needed to stop lying to myself. I needed to figure out exactly which God and how to serve Him. And I never liked the New Testament. Not at all. It always seemed gross. I was always gravitated to the Torah. I really wanted to learn Hebrew for like the last 12 years or something like that. 10 or 12 years. Just I had a lot of distractions. things that I thought were more productive. I could have spent 10 years slowly learning and making a lot more progress and something real good than what I was doing. Which was mostly not good. Or at the very best, not productive. At least not really. Person has to always do a self-accounting. It's late. Sleep is good. I don't know how I had the energy, other than God gave it to me to do this. But before this, I was really tired and ready to go to sleep. But I have to do teshuva. I need to have Eretz Shemayim. I need to have fear of God, fear of heaven, which is fear of God. And part of that needed to be going over last week's Torah portion and reminding myself of how I got here was looking at the horrors of history, specifically how they always certain things always happen with the interaction of Jews and Goyim, non-Jews, over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And are all prophesied in the Torah under a very strict set of circumstances that always are present when these horrors occur. And a person might be dismissive and say, well, sure, that's like most of the time, but there's always going to be wicked people or people that don't follow the Torah, but these things always occur when they're right at their peak. Like the most critical thing is no intermarriage, which is really no marriage at all. A goy can't get married to a Jew. They can commit horrible sins, though. But God says it's worth it, even if they, most of them all afterwards become complete heretics or don't keep pretty much anything. As long as they stay away from the goyim, that's all that matters. It'd be so much better if we all just did what the Torah said, though. And as far as that goes, all we can do is what we're obligated to do. I'm scared. I'm scared because I don't know if I can ever do the amount of teshuvah that I need to do. At least that I feel like I need to do to atone for everything I have done, but I owe so much for. The only way to know is or to be sure is just to keep trying as much as I possibly can until I die. And then I'll find out. Hopefully it'll be enough. The other thing is that no matter what the world looks like how good or bad it is, if a whole bunch of people don't do real serious teshuvah really soon, I mean, there's always a huge, massive judgment looming for pretty much forever. It's just how massive it is and how thin the thread is that holds the weight from dropping into this world and crushing us all at any given moment. Sometimes it feels like it's just unimaginable and hanging by a tiny, slim thread. Other times it's almost like it's not even there at all. I have no idea if that's an accurate perception of reality or just my own distorted perception due to God hiding the truth from me at any given time. You know, for all I know, it could be the total opposite of what I perceive at any time. All I know is that we need to do serious teshuvah. Part of that is the basic service of God, and for that we need to be healthy. And I need to sleep to be healthy. Because even though I feel like I could keep rambling and keep standing out here, I know I need to go to sleep. Hopefully I don't let any spiders in when I come inside the house. Whoever hears this, please look and see and ask God for help. I know you want to believe all the garbage that every other liar and disgusting, corrupted, horrible person, or a nice person, but a wicked person may have, put thoughts in your head about various number of things, whether it's God or not God or whatever excuses to fulfill their our own desires that could be listed. Well, there's only one truth, and it is in the Torah. It holds not just all the truth, but all the good. And it can show us all the horrors and how they all line up perfectly. And they all point to one thing. The Torah is absolutely real. And God is 1,000,000% to the millions of power real. And even more than that. And He made this world and everything that we see and that we don't see. And there are serious consequences to our actions. Just like there's gravity and that there's laws of attraction and all the other ridiculous scientific concepts. God has laws that He put into creation that are more permanent than all the laws of physics that we think are like absolute. And one of the most critical for human survival is that if there's not a certain number of people, a certain number of Jews that are constantly learning and observing God's Torah at any one given point in time, that all the laws of physics, all the laws of creation cease to exist, and everything ceases to exist. It all just goes away. But on a less absolute but more terrifying basis, if the laws aren't followed, then everything will still be here, but we will feel it as we face the consequences for our actions. Instead of just a blink and everything's gone and we don't sense or acknowledge or feel anything, we will be here and we will live through it, and it will not be nice. So let's try to make it nice. Let's look in the mirror and see where we went wrong, and try to beg God for help to do what He wants us to do. I mean, it's really simple. Just learn the Torah from a Jew with fear of heaven, like Rabbi Reuben or Rabbi Yosef Mizrahi or Rabbi Elon, and then apply everything that you learn to your life as if your life depends on it, because it absolutely does. And that's it. It's that simple. But it's really hard. But it's also the only source of good. It's the only source of real good. Everything else is absolute lies and garbage. It'll look and feel and sound fun for a time, but it is certainly not at all. God, please help us all to do full, serious, real teshuvah this year, please. And please help us all. Please help us all to overpower the Yitzhak and outsmart the Yitzhak and to pass the tests you place before us. Because a lot of times they're really, really hard. Please help us all to do lots of kiruv, lots of teshuvah. And keep learning lots of Torah, as much as we can possibly stuff in our pea brains, and apply it to our lives so we can have some chance of meriting to enter heaven.